Okay, I'll go ahead and get started. This is Rachel Campos. I'm the State Grant Coordinator. Today, I am here for FinAid Friday. Thank you, Danielle, for inviting me. If everyone can sign in and make sure to sign in using the QR code, we'll put you in for a raffle. And we'll go ahead and get started. So you're here for middle class scholarship. So middle class scholarship, it provides a low to middle income undergraduate students, including students pursuing a teaching credential, with a scholarship to attend a UC or CSU or California Community College bachelor's degree program. All right. To be eligible for the middle class scholarship, you have to be a California resident. You have to be a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, or meet requirements for non-tuition exemption, such as AB 540. You also have to meet the income and asset ceilings based on the academic year. You have to maintain satisfactory academic progress standards, not be in default on any student loan or be incarcerated. You have to complete a FAFSA or a CADA by March 2nd. This is for new and continuing students. And this is specifically for middle class scholarship. A friendly reminder, if you are currently attending at SFSU, make sure to check your checklist items or your to-do list. They all must be submitted, filed by filed and reviewed by a counselor and completed. All MCS holds must also be lifted. So if you have any checklist items, um, uh, or any holds in regards to middle class scholarship, make sure you follow up with us to get that completed. And then for foster youth students, if you're a current or former foster youth, or if you know a foster youth student, this award can cover the rest of your school cost, which is your cost of attendance after your own expected contribution, and any other free money like grants or scholarships are counted. There is a MCS for foster youth as well, a page on CSAC. Middle class scholarships, income and asset ceilings. So I added the 25-26 award year on the left, and then upcoming the 26-27. So for currently for 25 to 26, for a dependent student, so this is your family, the family can earn up to 234,000. And for when I refer to your family, they're actually just looking at parent income. And for independent students with no dependents, they're looking at up to 136,000 in income, and then as married with no dependents, up to 155. And then also they look at asset ceilings. So as a dependent, up to 234,000, and independent, 112,000. And then for 26, 27, that information is on the right. However, don't look at your tax information and deny yourself. I would still complete your FAFSA because there are other aid that you can be applying for, but you want CSAC to tell you if you're approved or denied. You don't want to self-deny yourself, okay? How MCS awards are determined. Scholarship award amounts will vary by student and by school. Award amounts will be based on the cost of attendance for the school of choice, qualifying financial aid that student is eligible for. So your federal Pell Grant, your state, your institution, or any scholarship aid will be deducted from the MCS formula. All students, MCS is looking at any or income earned up to 8,412. This is the student contribution portion. So even if you didn't have any work or any income, they will still calculate the 8,412 as a student contribution. And then for expected family contribution for households with income higher than 100,000, and then total income and total assets within range based on dependency status, marital status, and number of dependents. This is how they calculate middle class scholarship. They take your cost of attendance minus your aid awarded, such as your federal, institutional, state, and Cal Grant. For 25-26, the student contribution is 8,412, so automatically they deduct that from part of the formula. And then 33% parent contribution, your self-aid, gift aid excess. And then finally, they come out with a calculation and multiply it by 35%. And that's how middle class scholarship is calculated. Just to remind you, there are going to be some cases where there is an overaward. An overaward exists when a student aid package exceeds the need of overall cost of attendance. Remember when packaging subsidized or need-based aid, the basic formula is cost of attendance minus student aid index, also known as your SAI, minus other financial assistance equals your need. So for example 1, your cost of attendance is $37,350. They would deduct your SAI. In this example, the SAI for this student is $9,536, and minus the other financial aid, which is $13,671. And that can include a combination of your grants, scholarships, student loans. And then that equals your unmet need. So this one is 14,143. So when middle class is awarded, because if the student, let's say, for example, received a $5,000 middle class scholarship, because of the need, the student is eligible for that middle class scholarship, and no other aid will decrease because they have a 14,143 unmet need. Now here, going to example 2, your cost of attendance is 27,086 minus your SAI of 11,500. So the SAI here is a little bit higher than the first example. And then they received other financial assistance of 15,586. So that equals 0 unmet need. So if this student was eligible for the same $5,000 middle class scholarship, in order for me to add that middle class scholarship, I would have to deduct or reduce some of their other financial aid, such as like their student loans, their parent loans. We always want to reduce down from parent loans or student loans first or alternative loans before we reduce any of their need-based aid. And so sometimes when you're in example 2 scenario, you will see a reduction of some of your loans, and then your middle class scholarship is added. And that's a good thing because what's happening is the student loans is being reduced, and then your middle class scholarship is taking that balance that's caused by the reduction of the student loan. Important thing to know is middle class scholarship is subject to adjustment as soon as we start awarding. If you receive additional financial aid after it's awarded and dispersed. So for examples, once we disperse middle class scholarship, and after that time frame, you receive an additional Pell Grant or FSEOG, any of these funding, teach grants, tuition waivers, Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award, institutional grants, athletic scholarships, EOP, or other scholarships, MCS will be recalculated after a new award is entered. And so we will have to make some adjustments to your account. Right now, everyone's running, when's middle class scholarship? Am I getting a middle class scholarship? The best place to look is to go on a web grants for students. So if you haven't signed up yet, please do so. This is another tool to use during your educational career. What you want to do if you haven't signed up, you want to create an account. This is what the dashboard view would look like. So you want to confirm your information. And then this is the landing page. And you want to make sure that you are selecting the appropriate year. They have 2 award years that they have for view. So right now we're currently in 25, 26. You want to look at that year. It'll tell you what your application status, your school of attendance. You want to make sure if you're attending with us, you want to make sure SFSU is your school, and then what your annual award is and your remaining eligibility. So the answers are actually right in your fingertips on your phone. All right, and then this is for financial aid contact information. So we have all types of way to for you guys to reach us. So we have in-person advising by going into the student building at One Stop. We have Zoom advising, phone hours, email contact, and then financial literacy advising. So here's the information for the website, and then also our telephone lines and our hours, our emails, and also for the scholarships too. And one thing, when you are coming to see us, please make sure you have your student ID. When you send your emails, please add it to your email so it would help us find and help follow up with your to resolve any of your issues or questions. You can also contact CSAC. However, they are very busy. They are handling all of, California students, but this is their website if you want to know more about middle class scholarship, and then their contact information and their phone number and email. And we just want to thank you for coming to FinAid Fridays about MCS. 26, 27, FAFSA and CADA is now open. So please, these are the websites. Please take advantage and apply now. Don't wait last minute, okay? Because there's a lot to do at last minute. And so we want to make sure that you guys get all the funding that you're eligible for, but it starts with you and by applying on time. We do have future FinAid Fridays, so I've attached a screenshot of we actually have a walkthrough workshops for the FAFSA, so make sure you join that if you need help with completing a FAFSA. And I can take some questions or comments.
I just wanted to say thank you so much, Rachel. Before we go into the questions, I'm just going to stop the recording so that way we don't share anything personal out. We do post the FinAid Friday recordings on our YouTube channel. So if you do want to, log back in, refer back to the presentation, you can do so, but the question session just won't be recorded. So thanks for joining.